Welcome to Somerset Stories. I'm your host, Kathy Pickar. Today's guests are internationally renowned artists Barton Rubenstein and his son Armory in our first segment, and artist and Montgomery County Schools public teacher Lynn Lewis with one of her students, Sasha, in the second segment. Although we could easily devote an entire show to each of these artists and their extensive portfolios, we're here today to talk about the Mother Earth Project, which is a global environment-saving initiative which was founded by Barton Rubenstein and his family. Welcome, Barton and Armory. Bart, let's talk about the Mother Earth sculpture. I've been to visit it a couple of times now down in Georgetown, and each time that I visit it, I have this profound feeling of connectedness that to the rest of the world, and I think it has to do with it has to do with the angle of the profile, and the profile seems to just be very elegantly, with grace and with a lot of dignity, speaking out and connecting and saying, "Help me." Tell me about the sculpture.
Well, first, I want to thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
And I'm actually very moved by your response to the sculpture because it is personal for me because it's actually a profile of my late mother, which is a story I can tell you a little later.
Oh, that's a wonderful story.
But like most of my sculpture, there is a lot of subtlety to my design, and this has a forward-looking ethereal pose, slightly looking upward. So the idea is that all these sculptures, we're hoping to place them in different major cities around the world. We'll be looking out towards a body of water, and which will, if one uses their imagination, they all come to the collective oceans. So it's sort of a collective experience. So when you look at the sculpture down in Georgetown, which is the first installation of the Mother Earth Project sculpture, this is the beginning of sort of an international idea that my son actually thought of.
That's great. When did you come up with the idea of the profile, or when did the kernel of this whole idea begin? How many years has this been going on?
It's been going on a few years now. It started probably in 2014. There's a side story behind it, but basically the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery was at the studio looking at another work and found a profile of myself using the same design idea and fell in love with it. And encapsulating the story, basically the sculpture was planned to be in the front of that museum, and in the 11th hour the director asked to change course and asked me to create a small scale of that sculpture as what is now the Portrait of a Nation Prize, which is given out to great Americans every other year. And that then left the large sculpture without a home. So they granted me ability to use that sculpture and that design for any other use. So that was sort of the beginning of the sculpture, and just
so that was about 3 years ago? Was that about?
Yes. And then began the idea, why don't you just jump in if you want to?
Well, when we were trying to decide what to do with the sculpture, I think we might have been like in Israel or something. We were talking about it. And I thought of the idea without even the Mother Earth Project in mind to like put it in different countries around the world to kind of unite the countries. It had nothing to do with the environment yet. Mm-hmm. But then when the whole Mother Earth Project started to evolve, it kind of all fell into place, and how that's how they unite all the countries, through the Mother Earth Project.
And I know this has become a family project.
Definitely.
It started with your dad's sculpture, but this has become a family project. What are the different roles of the family members?
So it's mostly, well, basically, I like to help out with so we're doing a school project. You'll hear about that a little later. I like to help out with that. My sister, she does an Instagram account. She does our social media, which is a huge part of the project, where basically she asks our followers, she reaches out to our followers to tell us what they're doing to help the environment. So they'll basically direct message us on Instagram or email us. They'll send us a picture of what they're doing, and they'll they'll tell us what they're doing, and within like days we'll post their posts and
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
So what is that? How do you get to the Instagram account?
Well, basically the Instagram is HumansOfMotherEarth. So
So it's hashtag Humans
that's-
of Mother Earth, or
yeah.
Yeah, it's on Facebook also, Humans of Mother Earth. And
Yeah.
if you go into Instagram and type in Humans of Mother Earth, it'll take you to the account.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So students all over the world then, or
And
people all over the
people
world,
and
anyone all over the
Eco
world.
organizations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all over the world. It's like we reached out to like all over.
How did you do that? How did you reach out to all over the world?
Well, actually, they reach out to us basically. We ask our followers to reach out, and then they come and reach out to us, which is really awesome that they can do that.
It's a very mysterious process of going viral. You don't really know the process, but you know, we have over 5,000 followers now, and we post almost every day. People from India, the Philippines, Vietnam, and some people are already part of a community that they have a voice, but other people are expressing exasperation because they feel that they're alone. So they are very empowered and honored to be a part of this account.
Right.
And we had one post from Tehran, Iran, that it was amazing. This lady spoke about this part of the environment that was being destroyed by a pipeline that was being laid, and there was a gigantic response from that local community supporting her. So
Oh, my.
we're like a platform for sharing and raising awareness.
Right. Well, I noticed on the website that it's reached over 80,000 students. So
Yeah.
there's this educational component, a strong educational component to it. How did that specifically get started?
Well, there was like a point in time where we were getting we knew we were getting the countries involved, but we like realized we kind of wanted to get the students involved in the countries and the kids involved because
Right.
the youth's what really
Right.
makes it all. So basically, we thought of the idea of going to schools and basically having them do projects, to like. I'm trying to
We
think of the
wanted
word.
we wanted to engage the schools, and we
Yeah.
wanted to do it in a way that was respectful of their curriculum. We didn't want to go in there and give them a directive. And as you'll find out from Lynn shortly, the idea is that we wanted to start a conversation with the school and let them go with it and decide how they wanted to engage their students about the environment. So we sat with Lynn, and together we basically created a pilot program for the project, which is now on our website, and other schools are now following it. You know, a lot of the material on the website is not only to share it with the world, but also to share it with other school systems so that they can be inspired to do similar things.
So it's really through social media that
Yeah.
these 80,000 students around the world, maybe their teachers or their schools, are picking this up?
Yeah, we've encouraged a lot of the schools that we work with to have their own Instagram
Yes.
called for example, like Mother Earth Somerset,
Right.
which is the
Yes.
yeah, and then their own students and other students from other schools can see what they're doing to be inspired for their own projects. So that's to connect with the schools and all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so the idea is that schools not only have their own exhibition halls in their hallways and other places inside the school, but now we're creating this international exhibition hall on social media. In that way, people can share.
You know, I noticed there's a tremendous amount of research and information on this website. And someone is keeping track of what different countries, every country in the world,
Yes.
right, is
Yes.
doing in terms of contributing to saving or preserving the environment.
Yes.
Even North Korea. That one got me. I was very
great.
proud of them.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, and who does this research, and who posts it?
Well, I'm primarily responsible for the website. I have been using a intern from the George Washington University. And she has been working and basically feeding to me each week a group of like 10 citations and articles that she has found on the internet. We're basically taking newspaper articles, which is where we find the information.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was important to post about each individual country so that someone from around the world, they can see what their country is doing, and then they can see what their neighboring country is doing to get a sense of like, well, we should be doing that. But it's about celebrating what each country is doing. It's not about saying, you know, this country is not taking care of their people.
Right.
It's not a negative thing. It has to be a positive thing because that's what's going to push us forward. Like Finland just announced that they will no longer have any coal power in its country, which is quite remarkable that a country can do that.
Yeah.
And now we know that, and we know the rest of the world knows that a country can do that. So that's a very positive
It is a very,
slant.
Yeah,
Excuse
the
me.
whole project, I was impressed by how positive it is. From beginning with the sculpture itself, I thought was a very positive and powerful feeling. And I noticed that the projects with the schools seem very positive. Getting back to the schools, and I'll talk to Lynn a little bit more about this, of course, but you didn't want to interfere with the curriculum. But what are the guidelines, or what do you put on the website about for this pilot program? You started with Somerset Elementary, I guess, right?
That's right. So the idea is that we have on the website, we have general curriculum ideas that basically say, choose a medium that you're working in or that your school is particularly focused on. It could be theater, dance, graphic arts,
An art project.
an art project, or it could be activity, going around the neighborhood cleaning up, and use that as, you know, if that's what moves you as a teacher or, you know, art director, make that your medium to express and talk about the environment.
Yes.
So that's really the general guidelines. I think that's really it in a nutshell.
Yeah, right. So it does give a lot of flexibility to the teachers, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know, I wanted to, I have a picture that we're going to put up of your family
Wow.
Yeah.
standing in front of Mother Earth in your driveway, in front of your studio, which is about 5 houses up from mine.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you can introduce the family. I'll show you the picture here, but can you tell me from left to right who this is?
Well, so on the left, that's my brother Benjamin. He helps out with like the physical work. He like helps out putting the sculpture in and all, and like helping put it in the car and all.
Yeah.
You can continue.
That's my wife, Shireen. Shireen has had a very active role in the project. She originally was in our neighborhood, started the composting with other neighbors, which we now have this composting program.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So that
I
was a
didn't realize
really,
Shireen had done that.
yeah, so basically we're very excited as a family to do, you know, we got the big blue buckets, everyone getting recycle, and then we just started doing the composting. And I also grew up in a house that in the 70s that had solar panels, so it was like one of the first.
So your family was very forward early on.
It was. My father was really a leader in that.
Wonderful.
And so she basically does a lot of editing for the project and a lot of,
Great.
there's a lot of iterations of
And then we have, I recognize this one. That one
that's
is
me.
Ari. And
that's Sabrina.
Sabrina is.
She works with the Instagram and
Right.
social media.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
she's going to Tulane University next year.
Oh, and
So-
so this is something she can continue. That's the nice place.
Yeah.
You don't have to be at your house to continue working
true.
at this
That's true.
project.
That's very
Yes.
true. Yeah.
So that will be great. Well, one last question, that, just from a practical point of view, you're going to have these sculptures all over the world, literally all
Right.
over the world.
Right.
Are these sculptures now going to be manufactured? Are you going to make that many sculptures that are going to be in your studio? How is that going to happen?
Well, it's a good question. I do create all my work and design and fabricate everything, and this is the one exception. I do have a fabricator who is going to be creating that work for me, and right now we have 3 more at this fabricator shop that have been completed, and
Oh,
we're
great.
going to be shipping them to Israel and Cameroon in the next month.
Wonderful.
As our next
Wonderful.
stops. So we're very excited about that.
Well, this is a tremendous project. I want to congratulate you, and we could spend many shows talking about this. I've just scratched the surface. I'm really enjoying learning about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Lynn Lewis and her student, Sasha Kazmine.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Welcome to the second part of Somerset Stories. Our guest in this segment are artist and Montgomery County Public Schools teacher Lynn Lewis and her rising 6th grade student, Sasha Kazmine. Thank you so much, Sasha and Lynn. I'm going to call her Lynn right now, so instead of Miss Lewis, for joining us. I have, Lynn, one of the really moving moments of this whole project for me, in addition to seeing the profile, was when I went up to the town's gallery to look at the art pieces. And I read one of the descriptions that one of your students wrote. In particular, it was Jeremiah. And he said, if the earth had feelings, do you think it would be content? And I thought, whoa, Lynn has done it. Lynn and Barton have done it. This child has connected personally to the earth as a living entity that has feelings. And I can't think of anything more powerful and important to do than what you all have done. Tell me a little bit about the project. How did you first hear about it, and how did it evolve?
I first heard about it through Barton, and I knew Barton because Ari had been a student for 5 delightful years. And he asked if we might be interested in connecting the art program with the Mother Earth Project. And I went to the website and read about how he was focusing on people taking personal responsibility for their actions in caring for the earth and having a sustainable lifestyle and supporting as much variety of life as possible. And it seemed like such a powerful message and so easy to connect up with in art class. And we also, he gave us the opportunity to use Instagram as a venue, and that seemed like an amazing opportunity to publish artwork instantly and have a global audience. And we're used to just putting the artwork up in the halls and having a local audience at best. So it seemed like a fun opportunity. Plus, he and Ari were very supportive. I had no background in Instagram, and they made it very easy to launch.
That's great.
So, and they were also encouraging about not dictating exactly what they wanted us to do. It was very open-ended. I could connect up with as little or as much as I wanted to, and that made it much more fun.
Was it easy to hook it into the Montgomery County Public Schools curriculum in terms of art?
Very easy in that art can connect up to anything, but Montgomery County does a very good job with an integrated curriculum that they've started over the past 3 or 4 years, maybe a little longer, where they actually map out. You can see in a glance each quarter what different social studies, science, what different areas each grade level is studying. But then they have unifying questions that are thinking skills. Teachers can ask the same questions in different grade levels. So like some of the questions in 5th grade that they were asking that I thought were especially powerful, the one that stimulated the idea for the macro, micro, me project was what are benefits of seeking multiple perspectives, and when should I stand firm and when should I yield to the ideas of others? When should I rethink or change my ideas, questions, or strategies? How will I achieve my goals? So those are like thinking strategies that teachers across the board at the same time are addressing in science, social studies, music. And so we took it literally for one of the 5th grade projects and explored different perspectives, not just different points of view, but literally zooming in for an up-close point of view,
that's great.
the micro, the macro, the zooming out.
I love that title of your art project or the theme, which is the macro, micro, and me. And that brings me to Sasha. Sasha, we're so glad you could join us today.
Thank you.
And you're a rising 6th grader, right? Mm-hmm. When you first learned of the project, when Miss Lewis first explained it to you, the macro, micro, and me, am I saying that correctly? Did you understand the significance of it, that you were going to be connecting globally to students all over the world?
I thought it was amazing because we could interact with other students all around the world, and I was just very fascinated.
I bet. Have you been on the Instagram account? I don't imagine that many students your age, or maybe I'm a little old in that regard, have Instagram accounts, but I'm just barely learning how to use it myself. But did you go on Instagram? Can you see
yes,
these?
because I think it's a good opportunity sometimes to interact with other people.
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, you've had a good opportunity. A lot of artists, they're very lucky to see their artwork in a gallery. And you've had yours in a gallery with the other students. The town of Somerset has actually a rather professional gallery that's with openings and all the things galleries have. And your artwork was up there. Plus, I believe the artwork was shown at the installation of the Sculptor down in Georgetown, and that was on, I think it was on Earth Day. It was in April of this year, correct?
Yep.
And was your piece up down there?
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty exciting. And then you have the Global Gallery with the Instagram. We have your artwork, your specific piece. Can you describe it to me a little bit? In the upper left-hand corner, we have the micro.
Yeah.
The entire background is the macro, and then the me is your silhouette. Tell me let's begin with the micro. Describe what this is and tell me.
I drew a red blood cell, and I thought it was very fascinating because you could zoom in to something that is living, and you can see that it's not only living on the inside, but like everything is living no matter what.
Right. And what is the material that I see? It's a circle. It's as if I'm looking into a microscope. Did you actually look into a microscope?
No, we used pictures from the internet.
You did. And what is the material that you have here?
It was a type of metal that we carved into.
Oh, fun. Yeah, and I see you added your little red to show us that it's blood. Let's talk a little bit about the macro. Where did this image or the idea of this image come from?
Actually, my friend found it on the internet, and I really liked it, and so I picked it and I drew it.
You know, we're grateful for the internet, aren't we? What about the pictures from Hubble telescopes? Did you see any of the pictures from Hubble? I understand that was where some of the images actually came from. Mm-hmm. Did you learn about the Hubble?
Yep.
Did you know about the Hubble before this? Oh, that's great. So what is your macro? What is this picture of? You know what that is?
It's a picture of a planet. Mm-hmm. It's in another, what's it called?
Universe?
Universe.
Yes.
Galaxy and...
Galaxy, right.
I don't really know what it's called, but
it has,
I really like it.
I love the colors you've chosen, too. I do. And then you have the silhouette. How did you make this silhouette?
We used pastels, and Miss Lewis, we we turned sideways, and then she drew a picture.
Did you
the side.
project it?
It was their silhouette. Yeah,
Yes.
we just cast a light. So it was the old-fashioned colonial black silhouette.
Which I love. So this is one of the more interdisciplinary projects that I've ever heard. Not that I've heard of that many, but I love the idea of, well, as you were describing the questions, but also this involved the science. I mean, some of the images come from actual pictures from the Hubble telescope. Kids had to see through a microscope, or pictures of seeing through a microscope. And then you have this profile, which I love, colonial, 18th century profiles, the black silhouette against the white. What is inside your silhouette?
I did a beach because I think the waves reflect life, and they also reflect the person. Because like when you're angry, as if the waves are, and there's maybe a storm, so I thought it was pretty amazing. And on calm days, the beach is calm and very peaceful, and so I really liked that.
I never thought of the beach that way, but it does have so many human emotions to it, doesn't it? And then what do we have? What is this up here? Is that a wave crashing, or?
That was a cloud.
Oh, that's the cloud with
And
the
the
sun
sun
rays behind it.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, it's just beautiful. How did you come up, Miss Lewis, with the macro, micro, and me? That was your idea of the project?
Well, it came from that unifying question, the idea of shifting perspectives. So the me was the human eye view, and they also studied colonial America. So we did the profile, and then I thought kids would connect more if they thought of a place where they felt most at peace, like a place where they felt most comfortable on earth. And I had envisioned they would do waterfalls and beaches, but some children chose like urban settings, which was a delightful surprise.
That is a delightful surprise.
So that part was just to layer not just a likeness of themselves, but how they felt about their environment, and just to help them become more aware of where they find strength in their peaceful spot in the environment.
That's wonderful.
And then again, we shifted to the inside view, and then drew back and layered all the different perspectives together.
It's a delightful project. I think I loved, Sasha, in your description on your art piece. If the viewers see on every art piece, the students wrote a little description at the bottom right, and you spoke about different ways that you could help save the earth, and then you ended it with the question, so what would you do to save the earth? Which I think is a wonderful way to tie this whole project together. Just in our last 60 seconds or so, Lynn, tell me about what are you going to do next? How are you going to expand this next year?
Well, this year it was more focused on, we did it throughout all the grade levels, but we focused mostly on what individuals do now, the little things that families do, like composting, turning off the lights, and a sense of connecting to place and what they find beautiful. And next year I thought it would be fun to focus more on the student as a consumer and having choices, and perhaps using recyclables in art and building toys, so that the option of not buying the plastic ones is there.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
then going back to the value of the handmade object, there's no reason you have to buy all your clothing. You can use yarn and weave a belt. You can knit a hat,
that's
and
wonderful.
just the stepping back in time and connecting more with the value of the value of a handmade good, but also the value of the process of creating it can kind of ground you, and that's
great.
something that's valuable for life.
It is valuable for life, and I think that's a wonderful way that we have to draw this to a close today. But certainly the Mother Earth Project, and I hope all of you will look at the website. It's motherearthproject.org. This today concludes our Somerset Stories, and I want to thank all of our guests for joining us. Here at Somerset Stories, we're preserving a digital window into our community's current, for our community's current and future generations. And I'd like to close with Sasha's words. What would you do to save the earth? Thank you for joining us.